Hello, I hope everyone's doing well. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Amanda with Amanda Loves Perfume. I hope everyone is staying safe and I hope everyone's doing wonderful. I wanted to do a video today. My last video was perfumes that YouTube made me buy. There's a couple of Instagram ones thrown in there as well, but I wanted to do one on perfumes that I smelled on other people and that made me buy the fragrance. So it's not as often as you would think, but I have smelled perfumes on people before and literally had to buy the fragrance. So I have several of them here and I'm just gonna go ahead and get started and tell you where I smelled them and why I had to have them. So I'm gonna start with my oldest ones that go back to even high school. Probably the first perfume that I smelled on another person that I had to have was I was probably in 8th grade, maybe 9th grade, probably 9th grade. And I went to a very kind of like college prep high school that was very difficult, academically challenging, and pretty much all the kids there had tutors, and I had a tutor that would tutor me after school at the school, you know, well into the evenings on 3 or 4 nights a week. And she had this smell about her that was the most wonderful smell. And I just would smell it on her every time she would sit down and tutor with me. And finally I was like, I had to kind of work up my nerve because she was my tutor, like kind of like a teacher. It was kind of awkward for me to ask, but I was like, what are you wearing? And she told me it was this fragrance. This is Nude by Blass. Oh my gosh, you guys. This fragrance is definitely a vintage fragrance, but it is very wearable. I would wear this in 2 seconds. It's nude. It's like a skin scent, which are like my favorite kinds of scents. These kind of like very hard to describe. There's this smell that you can smell, but it doesn't smell like flowers. It doesn't smell sweet. It doesn't smell familiar at all. It's just this wonderful kind of skin musky scent, and that's what this was. This is gorgeous, and I think this is very musky. For anybody who likes Burberry Woman, this is a little bit in that same family. I describe Burberry Woman as, oh, actually, I should have had that in here. That's one of the ones that that I bought because somebody else wore, but it's the same thing. I describe it like warm sunshine. That's kind of what this reminds me of like going out on a cold day, finding a warm spot outside, and that feeling of warm sunshine on a cold day. That's what this smells like. This is Nude by Blass. You can get this very inexpensive on FragranceNet. I don't know that I would blind buy this. I mean, it just, to me, it's wonderful. I love this. So this is Nude by Blass. It kind of has the thing up there. This is like an 80s fragrance, but still smells wonderful, in my opinion. Another one that was I was in high school and I went over to a friend of mine's house who had an older sister. She was so cool, you guys. She used to wear rock like Metallica t-shirts, like cut like a half t-shirt, and she would wear like athletic shorts, and then she would wear the white high top Reeboks. And she drove a convertible LeBaron. She was the cutest thing. But we spent the night one night in her room because she had a double bed, and my friend only had a twin bed with the trundle. So, and the smell that I could smell in her room and in her sheets, oh my gosh, I was like, what is that? And she told me that her sister wore this. And this is Quelques Fleurs. You can see it like that. By houbigant. This is also kind of a vintage fragrance, but in my opinion, it's very wearable. This is a dry, dusty floral. I've described this before as well. It smells like if you took your wedding bouquet and hung it upside down and dried it out, but it still smelled like flowers, but also had been sitting in a closet, so it was kind of dusty. Like that wonderful, like dry, dusty smell, kind of vintage flowers. I think Quelques Fleurs means bouquet of flowers actually, but it smells like a dried bouquet of flowers. I love this. I went out and I had to have this. It was all the rage when I was in high school, but definitely bought this because I smelled it. I didn't even smell it on her. I smelled it. I remember it was her sheets in her bed when we were sleeping. I just kept smelling it and smelling it and smelling it. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, so this one I actually had bought for my daughter. And back when I used to drive my daughter to school every day before she turned 16, she would come downstairs every morning and have this perfume on, and it smelled so good. And I tried stealing hers, but she got mad at me, so I had to buy my own. And it's pink sugar. The reason I think this one I had to smell on somebody else is that from the bottle, you get a lot of that. It smells to me like that cotton candy gum by Bubble Yum. But it's when you spray it and it dries down and it gets in the air is when the magic happens with this. And I think I had to smell it on my daughter to understand what all the rage was about. But I mean, she would get in the car and I would just be like, oh my goodness, what is that smell? So smelling this on my daughter definitely made me buy pink sugar. I love it. I've since gotten Simply Pink, which smells very similar to this, but it's not as vanilla-y. Okay, so another one. So I went to a Starbucks one time and I was just walking through the Starbucks, getting my coffee, and I kept smelling the smell because, you know, you order. Then I went back to I could smell it when I ordered, and then I went and put my stuff down, went back and got my drink, could still smell it, and I actually started asking around in the Starbucks. This is the only time I've ever done this. Asking specific people at specific tables if they were wearing fragrance, and I finally found the girl that was wearing it. I asked her what it was. Versace Eros. This is another one. From the bottle, I would never have purchased this. If I had like found this at Ulta or something and smelled it, you have to smell this in the air, you guys. It was the most intoxicating fragrance when I smelled this in the air at Starbucks. It literally stopped me in my tracks to the point where I was willing to like embarrass myself and figure out where this was coming from. Now, the thing is when I wear this, it doesn't smell like that, because when you wear a fragrance yourself, it's completely different than the way that you smell it on somebody else. But I don't care. I wear it anyway because I know what this smells like in the air, and it is absolutely wonderful. And it was just very potent. Like I could just smell that fragrance, but it wasn't too much. It wasn't annoying. It was just like this beautiful fragrance in the air. Versace Eros, this is the EDP. I've never tried the EDT, but because I could tell when I went to the store and smelled them after that she was wearing the EDP, because I could recognize it. This was the one she was wearing. So that is Versace Eros. Okay, so this is a crazy one. And this is not the version of the fragrance that I would smell. Okay, this is before this particular version of this fragrance came out, but I had heard about light blue for years, and I was so annoyed. I would refuse to get light blue. Refused. I just was like, it's overused, it's gimmicky, everybody wears light blue. Okay, I'd had that, whatever, never owned it, never even smelled it. I was like, I would go in Sephora and be like, no, I'm not going to smell that. Oh my gosh, you guys. I was at a pizza place one time, this is years ago, and I kept smelling the woman behind me. Like every time she would like move around, because it was kind of a long line, I was like, what is that smell? It smelled like heaven had opened up and thrown this woman down on the ground. It was the most amazing smell. And I was like, I was like, what perfume are you wearing? And she was like, it's light blue by Dolce & Gabbana. I was like, what? That is what light blue smells like, guys. Oh my gosh. I've been obsessed with it ever since then. Ran out, got a bottle. I've worn it nonstop. Okay, so this is sad to me because I don't like the intense version. The one I fell in love with is the original light blue EDT. I don't like this one. I bought this on FragranceNet, got it. It's too much. It's like too much of a good thing. What I love about the original light blue is that sort of like, it's not super strong, and that's the way it smelled on that woman. I only could smell it when she like moved. This is too much of a good thing, so I might sell this. Or I might mix a little bit of this with my original light blue just to kind of make it last longer. Not quite sure yet what I'm going to do with this because I've already have a bottle of light blue, the original one, on the way from Fragrance Net. They're backed up right now, guys. Don't panic when you're order. They're based in New York City, I believe. So I think everything is just taking so much longer, but just be patient. They will send it to you. So I am waiting for my light blue in preparation for summer because I'm out of my original light blue because I thought I would replace it with that, but I don't like it. Okay. So if you guys that watch my videos or you're subscribed to my channel, you know that the perfume that I compliment people on the most forever of all time, it's in the 10s and 20s and 30s probably of people, I don't know, double digits of people I've complimented, and it definitely made me buy this perfume, is Chanel Chance Eau Tendre. This is the EDP. I have the EDT as well. But who made me fall in love with this is my friend Allison. She wears this, and every time I was around her, it was just this smell that I would just like, what is that smell? What is that smell? And I finally asked her what it was, and she was like, this was another one that I was like, kind of like, oh, everybody wears Chanel Chance Eau Tendre, like, you know, whatever. But after I smelled it on her, I was like, I don't care. And she would wear it like even in the winter time, in the sweater and the smell. And I noticed that I could really smell her, that it was very strong, but not too strong, but I could smell her, and it kind of had that enveloping smell that I absolutely love. Chanel Chance Eau Tendre, it's now probably in my very favorite fragrance list. I love it, never disappoints me. It's just a classically beautiful, female, fruity, floral, beautiful, fresh fragrance. Okay. That same girl, my friend Allison. Now, I used to wear Amazing Grace all the time. But once I really started getting into fragrance more, like really collecting fragrance, I wore this like 10 years ago. And once I really got into fragrances and like expensive fragrances and niche fragrances, I kind of was like, again, kind of snobby about this. I was like, it doesn't last, blah, blah. Well, my friend Allison, she wears both these fragrances, and sometimes she mixes them together, but she wears both of these. Well, again, I would be around her and I could smell this, and I would say, and I said, you're wearing Amazing Grace, and she goes, well, actually, I'm only wearing the lotion, I'm not even wearing the fragrance. The lotion I could smell. I mean, every time she would walk by me, it was this just most amazing smell, and I was like, why do I not wear Amazing Grace? So I went literally, I think it was New Year's Eve. I went to a New Year's Eve party, and she was there, and she was wearing Amazing Grace. Again, it was in the winter. Who would have known? It smelled amazing. I went like the next day and found this. Now, I do think this is the reformulated one. The one she wears, I don't know if it's the reformulated one. This is not as strong, and it's more Pure Grace, less Amazing Grace, if that makes sense. It's not quite as special, but I don't care. I mean, it's been reformulated. There's nothing I can do. So I got this, and I love it. Again, I've fallen back in love with it. Okay, same thing. I was somewhere, I don't even remember, and I was talking to a friend of mine, and a woman came up to her and started talking, and I didn't know her, but I was like, as soon as she walked over, the second, I was like, what is that smell? What is that? The other thing is my orthodontist, because I got Invisalign about a year ago or so. I'm finished with it now, but the lady that would do my work on my Invisalign, I kept smelling this smell. What is that? And the girl, they were both wearing Alien. And Alien is another one I was kind of like, whatever. I don't, oh my gosh. So after I smelled it on them, oh my goodness. And now I absolutely love Alien. I have a bunch of flankers. I have Eau Sublime. I have Eau Extraordinaire. Oh, the smell. I mean, the other day, and I don't know if crazy perfume people like me, I actually sprayed this on a strip. I just wanted to smell it and brought it downstairs and set it on my coffee table. I could smell it the entire night. I'm sitting there watching TV, and I just kept smelling Alien. I just kept smelling Alien. It's just, I don't know if this is the reformulated one or not. I got this on Fragrance Net. I have a backup bottle of this as well that I got on Fragrance Net. I don't know. I mean, there's not a lot we can do when they reformulate. Still smells exactly the same to me. But yes, smelling this on somebody else made me buy Alien for sure. Okay, another one. So I love Trish McEvoy. I talk about her all the time. I have a lot of her fragrances, and I have a ton of her makeup, and a ton of her makeup brushes are the best on the market. Guys, I am telling you, you can believe me. Go to a Trish McEvoy counter and invest in her eyeshadow brushes. Her eyeshadow brushes are the best. Her face brushes are okay. To me, where she shines is her eyeshadow brushes. They are just unbelievable. But anyway, of course, I was at a Trish counter one day looking for makeup, and a girl was like, oh, we have some new eyeshadow in, let me do your makeup, or your eyes. And she was doing my eyes, and I just kept smelling this smell. I was like, oh my gosh. And finally I was like, what is that? I always had that, and I don't know if you guys are like this, there's always that moment of like, I don't want to ask, I don't want to ask, I don't know why. And finally, like, I'll be like, what is that? And she's like, it's Trish McEvoy 100. So she was wearing one of their fragrances, and I bought it that day. I left with a purse spray. It's quite expensive, which is why I actually bought 2 of these, and oh my goodness. This is like another kind of like skin. It was, I think that's why it drew me in on her. It was like this very vague fragrance. It wasn't flowers. It wasn't sweet. It wasn't, it was just this kind of musky, deep. It reminds me a little bit, but they just smell completely different. The impact is a little bit like this one was, but oh, it smells so good. I don't even know the notes, but if you guys like kind of musky, it's 100, if you can see. Love this. Love this. Okay. I talk about this fragrance a lot too on my channel. Santal 33. I heard a ton about it. I went and tested it out at a Nordstrom, and I did not like it at all. Didn't think anything else about it. Here's my Santal 33, my little baby bottle that I'm nursing and nursing until I have to buy a big one. I didn't like it, so didn't buy it. Went home, never thought another thing about it. Maybe 6 months, 9 months later, a guy that I know, oh my goodness, he came in wherever we were, and I smelled him, and I was like, oh, what is that fragrance? It smells like heaven. And it didn't smell super masculine. I could tell it was more of a unisex scent. And he said it's Santal 33, and I was like, what? That is Santal 33? But it was on a man, so I was kind of like, I still don't want it. Well, then, flash forward probably another 4 months later, and a woman came to tan my daughter for cheerleading, and I didn't recognize it from the guy. It was just this heavenly scent I kept smelling every time she walked through, and she was moving around a lot because she was tanning my daughter, and I was like, what are you wearing? And she was like, Santal 33, and I could not believe it. So I went out that day, y'all. That was in Dallas, Texas. I went out that day and looked up a labo store and went and purchased this because the smell on her was so amazing. And I had remembered it from my friend, the guy that was wearing it. So this you have to smell on another person, in my opinion, for it to really, that's like light blue. Oh my gosh, you guys, there's something about light blue when I smell on someone else. I'm actually going to have to edit this video because I've remembered several other fragrances that I smelled on other people that made me buy. So I'm gonna have to go get them and then splice these 2 videos together. So I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. This is one that I almost hesitate to mention because it is so unavailable. You cannot even find this on eBay. But this is the one. Okay, so back in it was right around the year 2000. My really super good friend at the time that we were hanging out all the time, I went over to her house one night, and she came down the stairs because at the time she had a young daughter, and she would get her daughter to bed, she would take a shower, and then she'd come downstairs and we would watch a movie or whatever. And she came down the stairs one night, and I was like, it was just that instant, what is that? It's this, it smells so good. And she was like, oh, it's Hello Girlfriend, made by Betsey Johnson. I literally ran out the next day to the Betsey Johnson store at Lenox Mall in Atlanta and bought it. Oh my gosh, you guys, there's no way to describe this fragrance. It's again that kind of musky skin, gets in the air, kind of gritty. Oh, I don't know how to explain it. This has gone way out. This was discontinued, oh my goodness, 20 years ago. Well, no, it's 2020, yeah. this only was on the market for like a couple of years, and then she discontinued, I think because she sold her store. She sold her brand, and there was no longer like Betsey Johnson stores. It's just that she would be in different, yeah. So this, I found this on eBay. It's gone off a little bit, but I just keep it because I like to smell it from the bottles. This is Hello Girlfriend by Betsey Johnson, definitely. And me and my best friend wore that together for a couple years. Okay, another kind of vintagey one that I remember, I was at sleepaway camp when I was probably in 6th grade. This is a very old fragrance. I think it came out in 1985, maybe 1982, but I kept smelling her at sleepaway camp. And it was just this smell, you guys. Oh my gosh. And I asked her what it was, and it was Design. This is really super 80s, guys. Check out this cap. By Paul Sebastian. I still love this fragrance. I still wear it. I actually mix this with Molecule 01, and I also mix my Nude with Molecule 01. It kind of helps modernize it a little bit and dilute some of the dated aldehydic notes. When I mix this with Molecule 01, it is literally like an angel. It's like what an angel would smell like. Oh my gosh, I love this fragrance. Yes, so I smelled this on a girl sleepaway camp, made me buy this. Okay, so Elizabeth Arden Green Tea. That was another one that I'd heard a ton about. And I just was like, I don't know, like it's, and then my friend Randy, I ran into her one night, and she had just, I can't remember, we were hanging out. She had just worked out. And so she was in like her workout clothes, but she smelled amazing. She smelled so fresh and just like happy. And like, I was like, oh my gosh, you smell so good. She was like, oh, it's green tea. I use it after I work out or something like that. So, you know, my butt went to TJ Maxx like the next day and got green tea, and I love it. I wear this in the summer. I wear this to the gym when I used to work out. Oh my goodness, it's gorgeous. I wear this every summer when it starts to get just so hot here in Atlanta. This is what I'll wear probably for like in August. This is one of the only things I can wear. Maybe a little bit of light blue. And I have a new fragrance that I think I'm going to review that I got for summer too. That's really fun. Okay, so I did go fish out my Burberry Woman. My friend Helen wore this, and again, I was like, oh my goodness, what is that? This is my Warm Sunshine fragrance. It is a warm fragrance. Oh my goodness, you guys. This is just, oh, some people might think this is kind of dated. This is probably my most comforting scent. If I am very upset or having a bad day, I will wear Burberry Woman. It just instantly makes me feel like everything's gonna be okay. This is like stepping out into the warm sun on a cold day. Or now I could say it's gonna be like coming out of quarantine. Just this like beautiful, warm, sunny fragrance. Another one that I did smell on another girl, she was wearing the body spray, but she came over to my house, and she walked in the door, and I was like, what are you wearing? That is gorgeous. And she's like, oh, it's just Bath and Body Works body spray. And I was like, okay. She's like, but it's called Kaleidoscope. And come to find out later, they made a perfume, and it smells exactly like Glossier You, which is one of my very favorite fragrances. So I went on Amazon, got Kaleidoscope fragrance. This is EDP. Is it EDP? No, does it say? Oh gosh, I can't read it. I don't know what concentration this is. This is the perfume, and then I also have the body spray that I ordered on Amazon because they don't have this anymore at Bath and Body Works. So those are the fragrances that I smelled on other people, and I just absolutely had to have. I've kept all of them. I've never stopped liking them. Some of them I wear a lot. Some of them I just keep. The dated ones I don't wear as much, but I will wear them. But let me know, guys, what fragrances have you smelled on other people that you just absolutely had to have, that just totally blew you away? Sometimes that is the best way to find fragrance, because you don't have to test it out. You don't have to do anything. You can just go, oh my gosh, I know what that smells like. It smells amazing. It may not smell exactly the same on you as it does on that person, but it's going to be close. So let me know in the comments below what fragrances you guys have that you smelled on someone else. I would love to see more of these videos. I think all of my fun YouTube friends should do this type of video. And I'm actually going to tag my friend Lene. I want her to do a video on the fragrances she has smelled on other people that made her buy the fragrance. So, hi Lene! I will let you know that I tagged you in this in case you don't get to watching this video. Okay, talk to you guys later. Bye.